the plan is, the plan is to not go on for an hour tonight because it is past my bedtime. I'm a little tired. It's been a day. It's been a good day. But this is one of the things I was going to talk about yesterday before I went on that huge tangent that lasted the entire episode. So this is already fast filling up, and the base plate I got is too small to actually hold everything. These are what I call, I think everybody else does too, I think the common name is the appreciation tokens that I have gotten on my layout for the many times I've displayed it. I did get, this was the one thing, and I did bring it down. Uno momento per favor. I wasn't planning on doing this, but we're here now. But we're talking about appreciation tokens, and my little moving art project, my little moving art thing got its very first appreciation token, and it was kind of fun actually. Let's see if it's got, there it is, way at the bottom. So I left it with the moving art project. This one's, I mean, I'm gonna say this: all the appreciation tokens. The very first year I got appreciation tokens, I heard about them in the past. I think it started, I don't know, at some brick conventions back in 2012 or something like that. And it just caught on, and it's a fantastic way for us fans of the brick to show our appreciation towards other fans of the brick, of our chosen hobby, by leaving an appreciation token. Now Sandy went out and got me these guys, and so there are schools of thought about the appreciation tokens, and I'll show you, give you some examples. But some people say appreciation tokens don't necessarily have to have a direct link to the person who's leaving it. So you get appreciation token, you don't know who it's from. And then you got these guys, which I think everybody knows who I am when I leave an appreciation token or layout. I like both ways of doing it, but it does, I'll get into this by showing you this thing. I don't know where some of these things, appreciation tokens, came from, and so it's like a secret Santa in that regard. You don't know who left it. You can try to figure it out by looking at the actual token. Some tokens are completely brick built, Lego built, like this train station with a train. It's going to be somebody who likes trains, but they left it on my space layout. And then some you can see a million prints here. One of my favorite people ever. And if you ever want printing on a Lego brick, just give them a shout. And there's a few other ones on here. Bearded Builders Guild. Wish I could join that. This is I know this one, even though there's no name on it. It's my buddy Jason, Mary Lugg and Bricklemania from this year. I think it was this year. So yeah, Laval 2025. But you can see that a lot of these things are brick built, and you can try to surmise or pontificate as to who left it. Or you, as I say, the ones with actual names on it, or something that's a direct reference, like Sparky 701 to me. This one was left on my moving art project at Bricklemania 2025, and I know exactly who this came from before he even told me he gave it to me, because he's my friend Sylvain, and he bailed me out by bringing in a soldering iron. I mentioned that in those 7-part epic about Bricklemania 2025. But he liked it so much, but he was very hesitant because he didn't know who made it. Because I just put it over there on a table all by itself, and it just basically ran the weekend without me, interfering at all, which was fantastic, by the way. the moving art project, I didn't have to babysit it at all, which is wonderful. Every once in a while, there are people looking at it, and because I didn't bother providing French instructions, it just says wave your hand. I just showed them, and of course people would see that and they'd run over and try it, and it was just wonderful. It's a cute little thing. I love it. I mean, it's small, it fits into this box, wherever the box is on the floor here, and I can just bring it. I brought it to the Turtle Fest this year and just dropped it down, and that's what I brought. Which is perfect. Like, I can do this like a small little thing, drop it down, and I'm partaking in the show, so that's part of it. But anyway, so this one was the first appreciation token for my moving art project, which is fantastic. These are the ones that ended up in the space layout over a few shows now. I will say, because I kept on going off in tangents, I right back to it. The very first year that I got appreciation tokens, I got about a half a dozen appreciation tokens. The very first, I don't know, I think it was, wasn't even Bricks in a Six. Well, it must have been Bricks in a Six, a couple years back. I incorporated all those appreciation tokens into the actual layout, and they're still there to this day. I thought, the very first one I got just looked like a satellite, which was a brick built thing, and I absolutely loved it. And I said, this fits right into the layout. My very good friend Jeff left his appreciation token. I put that on the launch pad because, of course, the rocket is Jeff's. And so I want his appreciation token to be into that. And there's like 2 or 3 more in the layout now that I built into the layout. I don't know who left them, but they're there. And I thought, oh, this is a good idea. But then the second time I did a show and I got appreciation tokens, which ended up here, I'm going, I don't know how to incorporate more into the layout without making it look, busy. So I thought I'd have this as a little homage over here on my shelf here, so I can, I appreciate those who appreciated the layout. And I am humbly moved because, again, I'm the person who is enthralled walking through every show that I've ever been to, going back to Brickfest 2004, and even our robot competitions before then, that was just local to Toronto. I've always considered myself to be a hack builder. and it is self-effacing, sure, self-deprecating, whatever, but even going right back to the very first robot show, and I mentioned that a few times, that the one at Guelph University, and Ian showed up with his little tiny thing that basically knocked my Borg cube right off the platform, and I'm going, how? Because a little tiny robot. Oh, what did it say? Oh, my wife said 11:11. Love you, hon. So, got my water. Remember this time. So I have been at every single show I've literally ever done. I've been impressed by other people's builds, much more than mine. I always consider myself to be a bit of a hack. and like get it done and move on, kind of thing. The layout might be the exception to that rule, but overall it's like I'm just going to do what I want to do, and I'm not putting any more effort into it. Sometimes I get to the point where, hey, it's good enough for Canada, as Moby used to say. But other people's stuff, like going back to the Toy Train and Doll show, the hobby shows, all the shows that we did, and people showed up with their stuff, and I was just always in awe. And I can remember specific snippets. The very first train show we did, we just put a bunch of tables in a loop, in a circle, and then we just started dropping track and buildings and whatever else on it. And Jeff showed up with this roundhouse, and I'm going, that's effort. He showed up with a roundhouse. I'm going, oh my goodness. And it was a beautiful, and this is before, if I remember correctly, this is before Lego released the train repair shed, which I have a copy of somewhere. I bought one. Not more than one. I should have bought like a dozen, but they're expensive. But he showed up with this roundhouse, and I'm going, that's beautiful. And then the trains that people were showing up with, the engines and the cars and blah blah blah. It's just, and so we started doing train shows, and it was lovely. And then we went and did Altenburg, and then we did the Van Windham Dam thing with Jeremy and everybody, and Callum. Callum, I mentioned this because he had a building in one of those train layouts that seriously started, and I just have one example right here. That's this little curve here made by 4x9 wing plates. He had a building in the layout, one of our earlier train shows, not the first two, but when we started getting a little more serious about it. And he had a train layout. He had a building in the train layout that it was an apartment building or a sky rise, but the front entrance kind of curved out. And I'm going, how did he make that curve? Because he only used 5 or 6 of the wing plates, but it was enough to make a nice gradual curve. And I'm going, that's fantastic. And so I ran with that, clearly. Started, and that's 20 plus years. It's before I met Sandy. So it's got to be almost 30 years ago when I discovered that and started working on my own. So I've been inspired. I've been absolutely inspired. I'm gonna put this again right here so everybody can see, and this guy here. I've been absolutely inspired by other people in this hobby who not only are my friends that I've known for 30 plus years, but even the people I don't know, I keep on meeting at shows, and just admiring their builds, and being, again, because this is where my appreciation of other people's appreciation of what they appreciate, even though I don't appreciate that, this is where that gets a little bit of a gray area. But because of course I appreciate this, right? And so do these other people at these shows that I want to go out of my way to attend. And so I don't have to appreciate somebody else's appreciation of what they appreciate with me not appreciating what they directly appreciate. I actually appreciate what they appreciate too. If you follow that. I really appreciate what they appreciate, as we see here. And yet, I keep on mentioning this, and I don't think I'll ever get tired of saying it. Everybody comes at this hobby differently. Like, I've never met a single person who builds identically or wants to build identically or shows up with the same stuff as somebody else. Like, everybody I have met has found a niche. And again, the general niche, classic space. I know a few classic space builders. GVCs, I know a few GVC builders. Trains, I know a few train builders. Art, making mosaics or whatever. I know a few people who do that. But what they bring to the table, even if it's just art or space or castle or whatever it is, that person is different than that person, what they bring to the show. You can't say, this guy's they're so derivative of somebody else. I've never, again, I'm not an expert on anything that is derivative or not derivative from other things, but I've never seen in a theme, in a niche of Lego hobby displays, I've never seen one person basically copy or just basically plagiarize somebody else's stuff and pass it off as their own. Well, actually I have, but we won't talk about that, but not the shows I've seen. And I'm going to bring up the example of the Harry Potter castle, the Hogwarts. I have seen now possibly a dozen different iterations of the Hogwarts done by different people, brought to different shows over the years. And sometimes it's just a little vignette. Sometimes it's the entire castle. Sometimes it's just like a bigger, like just the main meeting room of the castle, like that's been at Breaks in the Six with the floating lights and everything, just absolutely gorgeous. But even at Bricklemania this year, and I took pictures of it in my Flickr channel if you want to go over there, it was a micro scale Harry Potter castle, and it was glorious. He had a big round table, I think 6 foot diameter, and he put the blue cloth, or she, I don't know who it was, but they put the blue cloth down, and they made water all around, and then they did little vignettes inside using micro guys, of stuff that happened around in the movies. And I'm going, and the build itself of the castle, of the Hogwarts school, it was beautiful, absolutely beautiful in micro scale. And I'm going, that I will never get, as for me, I see my layout so many times. I'm not sick of seeing it, but and thankfully my friends keep on telling me they're not sick of seeing it either. But I will never get tired of seeing people's renditions of something that's been done a million times, but every single time and by every single person, it's done differently. And so I don't mind going to a show and seeing, oh, it's a Harry Potter castle again. I remember there was, this is already 15 minutes. There was a bit of, it was either a TikTok or YouTube a bunch of years back, where the person came back from Brick World or whatever convention, probably Brick World. And I think it was about 15 years ago when the modulars were the biggest things, when the Lego was released in the modular buildings. And the guy was complaining, and I'm not going to fault him for complaining. I wouldn't, but I can see why he did. He says, like, and it's exactly what I talked about before, where some shows will not allow you to bring the same thing a bunch of years in a row because they want something different for the display, so you're not boring the audience. Again, I've brought a layout for 20 years, but you're not boring the audience. But if you see a train layout or a bunch of train layouts, if you get a big enough show where there's more than one train layout, almost guaranteed, this person says, there's going to be the modular, some or all of the modular buildings in it. If it's a big layout, it's going to have all the modular buildings in it. And he says, why am I looking at sets? And I said in my head, because there was a video I watched, I said in my head, literally my entire layout, besides the buildings, are sets. They're sets. And so it's how you present them. And I keep on talking about the Star Wars stats that were vignettes at the show I just came from, and it's just absolutely blew my mind. And the effort that put into to make the background, the diorama or the vignette, perfect. So I don't mind sets showing up in something like that. I don't mind that a train layout has modulars in it, the exact modular that you would have bought, the Green Grocer, the Corner Cafe, the whatever, the Grand Emporiums, whatever. I mean, I have two over there that I should sell sometime because I'll never ever use them again. But the two original ones. The train layout, because it's just more than modulars, but the modulars fit into the layout, making the layout that much more detailed. And so I never had a problem with people showing up with sets in their layout for whatever sets they are. And so that impresses me, that I can see all these different train layouts and they have similar or identical buildings in them, but every train layout I've ever seen has been different. I've never seen different groups of people make the same train layout. There was a beautiful train layout at the show that I just came from, that I can't stop thinking about, because it was, again, pictures of my Flickr channel. It was beautiful for the size and scope of it. It was fantastic. So every show I've ever done has impressed me. Every show that I've attended, every show that I've been a part of, every show that I used to run shows, and people would show up with their stuff, and I've been impressed with their stuff. Jason's Discovery model, it's just one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen, because again, 2000 was important to me. Greg Hyland's first little space layout, and that was 100% sets that were set up like the booklet. I appreciated that. I said, this is fantastic. You can bring classic space to a show. Woo. And again, I cannot stop talking about my friend Jeff. I will not ever stop talking about how much I'm impressed. I've known this guy for 30 plus years now, and every single time I do a show with him, he brings it. and I'm impressed by it. Oh, it's the same castle. No, it's not the same castle. It looks the same, but there's more detail. He puts more effort in, and he keeps on changing things. And again, every time I will never get enough of seeing Jeff's castle, and knowing his previous iterations of castles, and where he is now, and of course I, of all people, appreciate knowing how much. And I keep on saying, oh, mine's so much effort to put together. Are you kidding me? Like, mine is a walk in the park compared to what Jeff has to do to get his castle together. But it is so worthy of any show ever. No matter how many times he brings it. He brings it every year. I love it. I want to see it every single year. And so I am humbled by the people that I've seen at shows and what they bring to the show. From the smallest mock to the biggest mock. I love all of it. I love all the themes. I love everything. Now, there are certain things I do not understand, which is fine. But I can see the build techniques and the efforts and whatever, and I'm 100% there for it. So I get humbled when somebody puts that, and they say to me that my layout was worthy enough for an appreciation token. And so every show I do, since for the last couple of years, I get appreciation tokens and I put them on here. What I didn't notice until I started cleaning up and whatever, so I started adding onto here, and I put my latest ones on here, is that I have 3 of these now. There's 1, and there's 2. Whoops, they came apart. I should have done it that way. Let's see if I can get these things off. I put them all in here together, but the same. I would hope it's the same person. I would hope it's the same person. So 1, 2, and 3. So this fan, adult fan of Lego, whoever he or she is, whoever they are, has appreciated the train layout enough to put an appreciation token on 3 times now. And I know that the last one I just got at Brickomania. But I got one at Bricks in the 6th, and I don't know if I got the other one that last or 2 years ago was a Brickomania or another Bricks in the 6th, and so I'm humbled by that too. Like, not just this that I have all this from everybody, that a person has liked the layout enough each and every time they saw it. So it's like, oh my goodness, and again I come back to. I think, Psych 101, I think in the Lego, almost any community, there is the imposter syndrome, where people feel that they're not worthy enough to be in the upper echelons of the people around them. And I grok that very, very, very deeply and sincerely, that I go to a show and I'm going, we're not worthy. And Mike Myers, we're not worthy. Fantastic movie. I don't know if it's, I don't know exactly what it is. I think it's the way I was brought up, where, as I mentioned, my family did everything they ever did, not for the benefit of their own personal ego or their own personal status or their own personal whatever. Everything they did in their lives was external. They wanted to bring other people up, and they, don't look at me, don't look at the man behind the curtain. It doesn't matter who I am. We're here for the community, we're here for the society, we're here for the people, and therefore it reflects back onto them. My Uncle John would never, ever have thought about having a building named after him when he was doing all that work. He just never, it wasn't part of his psyche to want that or to desire that. My parents winning the Citizenship of the Year award together in 1983, that was never ever an end goal or even part of any goal ever. They never said, oh, look at me, oh, look at me. They never ever did that. And this is the environment I grew up in, where you do good work for society, for the people around you, because it's the right thing to do. That's it. There was no bigger premise than that. Do good for goodness sake. And yet, I'm going to point this out. And this is my whole life, with the family that I grew up in. I want to accept this gracefully and thankfully and humbly by saying, not like, maybe sort of like, oh, come on. You like me, you really like me. Oh my good, I hate my memory right now. I cannot stand my memory. I was just there, Smoking the Bandit, Frog, Sally Field. You like me. Her time at the first Oscars or whatever that she got an Oscar for. It is a little bit. I'm gonna fix that. I was just looking at go off on this really quick tangent. So the logo is curved, and I'm thinking I can make that curved now just by looking at it, because right now it's just a diamond shape inside the box. So I'm gonna see if I can make it a curve when you're looking at it at the right angle. So we'll see. That's for Toro Lug. For O, the letter O. I was trying to figure out, Josh and I were trying to figure out how to get her done. So this is what we came up with. Josh's inspiration and help and blah blah blah. This is one thing I do not do, and Sandy's questioned this a bunch of times. I do not usually partake in this kind of stuff. I don't. I always leave it for everybody else, because first of all, I'm a hack. But beyond that, I don't find it that it's very interesting, and it's very lovely, and it's very fantastic. For me, I do not find that I have the mental capacity to do something like this. I don't. I like ad hoc, kind of hodgepodge, kind of like fly by the seat of my pants for myself. I also don't like people relying on me. I've said this numerous times. My friend Janie knows that, yeah, you don't rely on Dave because my life is the way my life is. And again, it's 100% me. I can't blame other people. It's 100% on me. But my life gets occupied and I get pulled in a million different directions, and I have a tough time. I don't have a tough time adhering to anything because I've been married for 19 years and I don't see any of that abating. But I have a tough time dedicating my time for specifically other things, especially when my life's going to happen. And I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow because of work and everything else. I think it's one of the natures of being IT support is that you don't know what you're walking into from one day to the next. And I've been great with it for 35 years, where the roof could be collapsing. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna take care of it. But I don't know that 5 minutes before the roof starts collapsing. But that's a whole other tangent. So when I say I'm gonna be there, I'm gonna try to be there. And 99% of the time I am going to be there, but sometimes life happens. Life gets in the way. And I feel guilty about that so much that I just don't even volunteer for stuff anymore. To be part of the inn, to be, you have to be dedicated to be there at 1 p.m. for whatever. The only time I get to do that is for work. Because that pays the bills. But even then, like, because IT is the way IT is, I'm there at 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, so the network goes down. I have to fix it, and so whatever I had planned that night is out to lunch now. And overall, it's been fine. But there's been a few times I disappointed friends because I said, oh, I can do that for you, and it didn't happen because of me. And I do apologize for that. That is my bane, and nobody else's. But beyond that, I have to learn, and it's a hard learn for me, and this is a good step for me to learn that what I do bring to the table is worthy of appreciation. Now, I appreciate it because, again, this is the dichotomy. This is my dichotomy of nature. I've always appreciated everything I've ever done. I literally look back in my life and I go, That was good. That was good. That was good. I built a submarine. Well, my friends and I built a submarine. My buddy John and I, we built a submarine. Did it work? Yeah, that's irrelevant. We built a base underneath the water. I was, hey, you know, other people didn't have to appreciate it, but we did. So again, I've learned in my life that I'm going to do a whole bunch of stuff, and I have done a whole bunch of stuff that nobody else has to appreciate. Like literally nobody. And this is the years of psychiatric help couldn't fix. This is the hobby that I've had since I was 4, and the hobby that I've had since I was 4 was great from 4 to 12, but after 12, not so much. in the environment and the time that I grew up in as a 14, 16, 18-year-old that was still playing with Lego, not as good. Right now, it doesn't matter because now it's a hobby and it's a known hobby throughout the world. And you got Neil Patrick Harrison, some great soccer/football player that just pontificates and tells you how great Lego is. And you can't, you know, flip over TikToks or YouTubes or some other famous person saying, oh yeah, I built Lego last night. So now it's the in thing to do. And I love that, by the way, but that wasn't there in the 80s. That was not there in the 80s for us AFOLs or TFOLs. And so I grew up in that environment where it wasn't, my friends didn't shun me, but it certainly wasn't respected and or, oh, Dave's got, oh yeah, Dave, oh, nobody cared. when I was building a space layout on my ping pong table, nobody besides me cared. Like literally, oh, the kids did. When they started bringing the kids around, the kids, like one of my nephews and nieces came over, and my cousin's kids came over, and whatever. Oh, we're going to Uncle Dave's place, yay! And the kids at 5 years old, they loved Uncle Dave. So, but the parents, Uncle Dave has Legos, so we're going to go over there, and they're going to, you know, upseat his entire collection. That's fine. I didn't care. Back then I was a lot smaller. But it wasn't as accepted for an adult to play with Lego until, you know, even when I started the RCXs in the late 1990s, and I found like-minded adults, but it was just us. Lego was not out there in the wild for adults. It was just us on LugNet. It was just our people, our core group, and now it is worldwide. Now it's mostly accepted. And whoever's like, oh, look at the little boy who never grew up. Those people are becoming a lot less frequent, and I just don't care. I never cared back then either, obviously, because it never stopped me. But I have had a few people drop by on my YouTube channel here and say, oh, look at the little boy playing with Lego. Yeah, delete, block. I don't need to listen to you. And again, just like the drive-by, well, I'm not gonna go into it, but it's like the drive-by people who, like, somebody posts something that they're very enthusiastic about, and so if somebody says something, whatever, that's not nice and or reduces the amount of love and appreciation or happiness, that quotient, the happiness quotient is reduced because somebody did a drive-by snipe. I've been on the internet since the beginning, so I don't mind drive-by snipes. I'm actually pretty much really good at ignoring them now, because it's coming from a place of ignorance. It truly is. People who do drive-by sniping, that's their entire MO, is to drive by and say something disparaging or mean or cruel. That's who they are. That's their problem. I have been surrounded by love and acceptance my entire life. Now, again, acceptance to the point where they didn't make fun of me playing with Lego at 20, 30, 40. My sister bought me Lego for Christmas when I was like 35. Think this. My cousin dropped off her entire collection, still sitting out there in a bin, a couple years back. The people I care about, the people whose opinions I care about, were okay with it. It wasn't their hobby, but they're okay with it being my hobby. And now the world has accepted it overall, and whoever's left on the sidelines can stay on the sideline. It doesn't matter. There's enough of us out there that the drive-by snipings, delete and block. Sorry, if you don't want to get it, don't hate you, don't care about you, I completely forgot about you tomorrow. So that's what happens, right? But I really do have to start going back to my upbringing, where you never ever, I don't want to say accepted glory to yourself, because that's kind of a churchy way of saying it. I've never been one to allow other people to compliment me. Like, really, I've never been that person. I've never been comfortable with it. I've never been comfortable with people heaping praise onto me. I never liked it. When I do stuff, I want to be the Wizard of Oz. I want to be the guy behind the curtain that nobody pays attention to. I've always told my bosses, every job I've ever had, I never ever need a pat in the head. I never need a good job, Dave. Never needed it. If you want to throw it my way, thank you. But I'm not looking forward to it. I don't need it. It's not going to change the way I do my job. I'm going to do it the best of my ability. I don't need somebody to come along and say, oh, that's a fit. I know what I'm doing good. And that's all I need to know. And if you're happy with it, then keep on paying me and I'll keep on doing it. When I do something wrong, call me to the carpet and we'll talk about it. And maybe I had a reason, but then I'll start doing it whatever differently, as long as you're happy. If you're happy and I hear nothing from you, then I'm going to assume you're happy with the way I'm doing things. And that's all I need every single day at every job I've ever had. That's how I've handled my whole life. I've never needed, oh, good job, Dave. Or that was really, really nice thing for you to do. I've heard it many, many times, but it's never been an expectation. My parents were very encouraging. They're very, very encouraging. My parents were very, very good at saying, "Oh, yeah, that you know that was a really that was a good thing that you did there," and blah blah blah. And so they did it, and I accepted it ish. But it wasn't heaped of praises, and I never expected it. And so when I do get it, I will say one of my most, I couldn't speak. I literally could not speak, and there was almost tears in my eyes when Graham gave me the best in show, I guess it was, Stanley Cup, Lego Stanley Cup, for the Bricks and the Six back a few years back. And I was moved by that. I was absolutely moved by that. I wasn't expecting it at all. I like my layout. I love my layout, actually. I gotta say that, and I'm gonna be very clear about this. I really like my layout. and I know other people like it too, because they tell me. But I'm blown away by what other people do. It doesn't matter. Here's me again talking about it. But and then this goes right back to the first Brick Fat, when Deborah gave me the best in show-ish, wasn't the best in show, but the theme of the very first Brick Fat was not nostalgia factor, but it was like going back to the beginning, or the basics or whatever. And of course I have a space layout, a classic space layout, and it was definitely a classic space layout. And so I got that award for the year. And again, I was moved by that, coming from Janie and Deborah and the entire staff of the very first Brick Fat. They gave that to me, and I wasn't expecting it. And then I go, it was a moving experience for me. But again, I'm very awkward about that. I don't like being in a group of people that are looking at me. I'm great one-on-one. I'm great with a few people. But when you get a whole group of people, hey, Dave, I can't talk. If somebody calls me up to a microphone, trust me, I will not lose my chance of speaking in front of a microphone. I'm bad that way. But I'll ramble on like I'm doing now, and they'll just kind of get the hook and pull me off the stage, which you guys can't do here. This is why I do my videos. Nobody can hook me and pull me off the stage. But I can talk about stuff, obviously. But I do get a little discombobulated, a little. I don't like to be the center of all attention. I like the one-on-ones. I like the little groups. I love my friends, and this is why I love shows, because when I get to shows, I had a wonderful chat with Jen. Jen and I hadn't talked for a while, and so I had a wonderful chat with Jen. And Deborah, she came home from her world travels, and we had a wonderful catch up. And Sylvain again had a wonderful chat, and Dave St. Cyr and his kids, wonderful time. So many people. I got to catch up with Paul, who was in my basement. We started Lego. I got to catch up with him. There were so many people at that show a few weeks back. So one-on-one, oh, this is great. I get to talk to my friends and just catch up and what's going on in your life and blah, blah, blah. Beautiful. And then, oh, there's 5 of us. Oh, I get to partake in this conversation. I get all excited. Woo! And all of a sudden, the entire show's looking at me. I'll handle it. I'll fake it. And I think people can tell when I'm with 1 or 5 people, 1 to 5 people, I'm great. You put me in the big room, I start acting like doofus. And again, I don't mind. But yeah, so I have to learn how to appreciate other people's appreciation of me. I have to learn how to handle that. It is something I have to do, because I keep on going to shows, and keep on doing this stuff. What I do know is I'm better now than I was back then, but when I was younger, because I used to like hide, introvert. Can you imagine me as an introvert? But I will say that I am pretty. I do feed off the show. When I'm at a show, I do feed off the show, and I get a lot of energy from the show and the public days and whatever else. I do feed off of that, but and it lasts. The high from a show, like I don't do drugs, I don't drink. The high from a show lasts days to weeks after a show. Like I'm still talking about it, like because it was that good. The Brickomania. And I ride that high for a long time, but I do go, whew, it's over. I get to relax a little bit because I don't put on fronts for anybody. I don't change who I am for literally anybody. This is WYSIWYG. I am the epitome of WYSIWYG. If you don't know what WYSIWYG is, you're not from my generation. What you see is what you get. This is me. I don't hide stuff from people. I was a Boy Scout for far too long to lie to people. I don't like telling stories that are not necessarily true because I can't remember what I'm supposed to say or what I'm not supposed to say or what the lie is this particular flavor of the week. I'm not good that way. So I try overall. I mean, I do sometimes fish story. I do tend to exaggerate certain events in my life to make a better story because I love stories. You might notice I love stories. And so when I start telling a story, my wife says, "Oh, you're embellishing again." Well, the keys of the entire story, there's a lot of truth there, but instead of 5 foot is 10 feet, but whatever it is, I do tend to go on. Shocking, because we're already at 43 minutes. I said this wasn't going to be an hour, but I've always appreciated that, and so to some, I do have to start being appreciative. I've always been appreciative, but I really have to start accepting gracefully and honestly, and without the angst that I have when somebody appreciates me and what I've made, and that is something. It's not a big thing. Honestly, it's a beautiful thing. I think it's one of the sweetest things that, again, the Lego group, and again, not the Lego group, but the AFOLs, the appreciation tokens. I think it's one of the most beautiful, heartwarming, sincerest form of awesomeness that I've seen but that's the entire hobby, as it always has been to me from the get-go. I want to say innocent joy of the Lego hobby overall. I mean, there's always, I don't want to keep on going with this because I can spend another hour talking about this, but for me, for the shows that I used to run and the shows that I've always been at, and every single show has been an ultimate joy to be at, to partake in, to display something, to hang around like-minded people, to catch up with friends. It is absolute joy and wonderfulness that I just absolutely adore. And so I'm going to be the person that says, thank you so much for this. I think it's sincerely appreciated. And I don't want to take these apart. They're going to stay together for the rest of my life. And I'm going to keep it right there on the shelf where they've been since they started. And I'm going to say this was their way of saying, Dave, thank you for being you. And when I give my appreciation tokens, it's going to be the same thing. Thank you for what you brought and the efforts that you put into it. And so if I'm going to give gracefully, I have to accept gracefully. And I'm doing that. So this is where I am now. I'm going to go. That's it. Woo! Under an hour. Yay! And one topic. Look at that. The whole time I said this is what I'm going to talk about, and yes, there was a lot of tangents in there, but they're all related. How about that? They're all related. There was not me going off on odd. Other people might think that's wrong. I like that. Okay, I'm happy with that. That's it. That's all. I'm happy now. I'm going to go to bed. In the end, I love this. I think it's a beautiful part of the hobby, and it's very, very much sincerely and humbly appreciated. So that's it. That's all. Everybody out there, stay safe. And I don't know what I'm going to talk about next, but I'll figure it out. So talk to you then. Bye.